What is bold for you?
Boldness to me is about getting into something where if it doesn't work, then there's a large chance of failure. There is a risk, but you still do it anyway. It has to come from an illogical place.
What is it that India can do to stand out and not lose out on AI?
India is a land of software developers and can build great applications on top of it.
Now, is that going to be now impossible? We can't even tell whether something is synthetic or not.
Actually, AI is built on the shoulders of human data. It's a big problem and it's getting worse because the AI models are getting better.
Pankaj, welcome to ABC. Angel Bold Conversations is what we call it. I've been looking forward to this conversation because we've worked together, we've hiked together, we have had lots of moments together. So I'm really excited about it.
Likewise, thank you for inviting me.
Pankaj Gupta is the co-founder and CEO of Yupp.ai, his fourth startup. Previously, he was VP of Engineering at Coinbase Inc., where he led global engineering for consumer products after starting Coinbase India and serving as its India site lead. Before that, he was Senior Director of Engineering at Google Pay, leading its global consumer efforts and serving as the engineering lead for Google Pays before it launched and rebranded as Google Pay. He was among the first 30 employees of Twitter in San Francisco, first 30 employees. When it was a small startup, Pankaj holds a PhD in computer science from Stanford University and BTech in computer science from IIT Delhi. He has published over 30 research papers, holds more than 20 patents, and has founded 3 startups, all of which were acquired. To start off, I think Angel One, we call it Angel One Bold Conversations. And at Angel, we think being bold is about doing things that others wouldn't want to do or risk averse from doing, wouldn't even think about doing. What is bold for you? Like, you've done these things over and over again.
Boldness to me is about getting into something where if it doesn't work, then there's a large chance of failure. There is a risk, but you still do it anyway because you want to do it for some reason or the other, which is usually not logical. What is the boldest thing? So you talked about networking. We were both in the networking and switches and routers in the early parts of our career. I had done a startup which was acquired and I was doing really, really well.
Was it first one network?
Yeah, and then it was acquired by Cypress Semiconductor actually. So I was always in computer science and algorithms, but my PhD and the startup was getting close to chips. And I was doing really well, really enjoying the work. But at some point, I thought I was getting too close to semiconductors. And as a computer science person, I wanted to kind of get to the higher layers of the stack. And I just quit my job and said, okay, let me think about what I want to do. I had done one startup, and the second one, I started doing something. I think in hindsight, that was the boldest because I just didn't know where I was going. It so happened that the second startup was Indian music search engine, which also got acquired, but it was not going anywhere. And then a friend of mine who had just invested in Twitter said, hey, what are you doing? I said, well, I've been mucking around for a year on this startup idea. It's not been going anywhere. I said, why don't you join this little startup that seems to be doing well? So that's how I ended up joining Twitter. So it won. And then Indian music search engine was a company called Fulki, which was acquired by company called Savan, which became very big in India. So that also became very big later on. But in hindsight, it was bold because I just didn't know.
Interesting. This got to be, it's an adventure sport. You got to have some risk to it.
There has to be some risk to it, and it has to come from an illogical place.
If it's all logical, then it's not.
Then it's not.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That's interesting. Now, we were both together at GPay, played a little bit of part in scaling it, making it big. But Twitter or X is like a different scale altogether, right? At a global level. You told us the story of how you joined Twitter, but what was it like? What was Twitter like as a 30 people's startup, and how does it compare to the startup environment today in the Valley or even in India?
Honestly, not very, very different. There's a very chaotic startup, which just like most startups are just a lot of chaos, too much work, too few people. It was just getting wings. And I think that's where I fell in love with consumer rocket ships. Startups today are different. They generally have much more money. For the good of everyone, more people are willing to do them and join them.
So the seed round there was like 500K or so in those times.
For Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was founded in 2006 by Jack Dorsey and Biston. And they, people used to laugh at it. That why do I want to share what I had for breakfast to the world?
And there were no mobile phones.
There was no mobile. It took them 2.5 years to find any kind of spark of product fit. And it's a very weird idea that Jack had, right? That I'm just going to write something and it will just go to the whole world. And the very first few things people used to write was what I had for breakfast. So it became a laughing stock initially. But
Like
then,
cats and dogs of YouTube.
exactly. But there is a pattern here. Chris Dixon, who's our investor at Yupp, he has written a beautiful blog post which says that all new things look like toys in the beginning. They are done by people on the weekends and they just look like toy things. Nobody cares about them except you because you're just having fun. And then slowly the rest of the world kind of begins to realize the value of it.
Yeah. I think I never told you this, but my first use case of Twitter was when my MBA class after finishing MBA went to Vegas and we needed to keep in touch with each other. So all of us registered our phone numbers because we had these, feature phones. So we would get SMS. So somebody would tweet into the handle and then we would all get SMS. And that was like the first mobile use case for us of Twitter because it was like a fan out
Yeah.
to the whole class. And we used to love it.
Yeah.
Was that something other people used a lot at that time?
Yeah, people used it and mobile phones were just coming around and that also helped. But also, there were some key changes that were made in the product. It became a profile. There was no profile. At that time, it was just an SMS update.
That's right.
So, you have to make these key changes at different parts of a company's journey, which can dramatically change the company's.
I remember I loaded a picture with the tie and a coat on it, and somebody says, "Twitter, lose the tie."
Yeah.
Uh, well, those were the times. Now you've seen the computers and networking and AI landscape evolve from very very early times, and now you're at the helm of a AI startup. You started this company. I've been using it from early on when you started this off. Uh, Tell us more about what does Yup do? What's your vision for it?
It's a very simple product. You get access to, you can check out and use all the AI models for free. All the latest ones, whether GPT-5 or Anthropic or all the text. We have text and image models. So you can just get the most powerful models for free.
I'm a small investor also. I want to put that disclaimer up there.
The way the product is constructed is that you ask a question to the AI models, and instead of one answer, we give you two answers from two different AIs, which we have chosen to be the best AI models suited for that answer, suited for that question. And why? First, I fundamentally believe that we are in the stage of AI where it's still developing. You can trust it, but should not trust it fully. So, two AI models give you two opinions, two perspectives. One might hallucinate, maybe you can cross check with another, and you can get more than two answers if you want. So, that's the user value proposition. But once you see two, the product nudges you to say, hey, which one do you like better and why? And that data is very useful to the AI model builders because the process of model building in AI relies on a phase which is called post training, which aligns these AI models. And that is based on what are actual users liking. And the same is used in evaluation of AI models. When you build an AI model, you want to know how good it is. You just want to measure it. And the best way to measure an AI model is to put it in front of users and to know how it is doing relative to others. And so our product is really two-sided. One-sided is users are using it for free, but in the process of using it, they are giving this feedback data that I saw two results from two different AI models. I liked AI 1 over AI 2 and why. And that data is then used by AI model builders to know where does AI 1 stand. When you're a model builder, you can see, aha, I'm doing good in the US. Maybe I'm not doing good in India. Maybe let me look into it. Or I'm doing good in creative writing, but maybe I'm not doing good in math. Let me improve my model in math. Why? Because users are telling me. So our real aim is this solving this challenge of solving model evaluation and model post-training data. That is our aim.
You've worked on a bunch of 0 to 1 ideas, right? And 0 to 1, I feel like is the biggest product risk to take because you don't know what will happen. How do you decide what to build, even within a big company or a startup? Like, do you have like a mental framework in mind saying, hey, here's what I think about when I take on an idea?
One of my mentors, he had said when I was graduating, hey, never stop innovating. You're finishing your PhD here. PhD is about innovation, but all your life, keep on innovating. And in all little ways, whether in a big company or separately, you can always innovate. You can always think about it. So all 0 to 1 projects are projects of passion. Obviously, you have to kind of marry that with analysis, and either some new insight or some new technology has to fuel it. But even if you have an insight or technology, you need to have the passion to bring it to fruition. So for me, it's just what I get excited by, honestly. And then there has to be an insight or a technology which only I can see because of my unique position and context. And if that is the case, then but the real measure is, hey, how excited am I?
And my guess is that if you're passionate about something, you probably have a belief that it has a good chance of succeeding or doing creating an impact. Is that sort of that belief part
That's
of the
true.
equation?
That is true, absolutely. In most cases, but not all, you can't see that far, right? Because the industry is changing. So you kind of have to take the first step. And that is true for anything, and kind of back yourself that you will adapt, because the insight that you have or the technology you have at a certain point of time actually may not hold true when you get more data. So there's no magic, but honestly, the magic, it comes from individual.
Makes sense. And that's what a lot of entrepreneurs tell me, that you start taking steps. In the end, you can join the dots backwards.
Yeah.
A lot of time they don't join forwards.
Yeah.
What happened with the internet is that a few more things had to go right. See, the internet happened, but then of course, desktops had to go in there, but then mobile had to happen, which nobody had a clue of that it'll happen in 2000. People are starting to,
Yeah.
some devices talk about, but nobody thought mobile, if mobile had not been
Nokia communicator.
yeah, exactly. So if mobile had not become this big, perhaps internet would. Now, do you think AI has a few more things to like sort out and
So
more
yes,
things happen?
AI has a lot more things to sort out. It's not like robots are walking the streets. We are still having a conversation versus our AI avatars are having conversations. We still,
How do you know I'm not my AI avatar? I'm just kidding.
there will be a time where it will be hard to
I
tell.
mean, the Turing test is getting reversed, right?
So innovation and technology just kind of happens at its rate and sneaks in on us. So with AI, yes, there are more innovations that need to happen. It's a very digital intelligence. It's not a biological intelligence, and biological intelligence has honed over billions of years of evolution. We have drives, we have emotions, but there is one set of AI researchers who talk about this thing called the singularity, which is when AI models become better, in, good enough that they can do something called recursive self improvement. So if a researcher is researching various methods of improving AI, but if the AI gets good enough to be that researcher, then it can improve itself. And then when it can improve itself, then you get into a recursion. Different people think the time frames are different. Sam Altman thinks that is 1 year away. I think some others think it is 2 years away. Some people think it's 4 years away. But that's a time frame. I don't know how far away it is. I'm not really an AI researcher, but it is not that far away.
You never use 10 years. You're saying, look, nobody's
Yeah,
10 years.
people are not. I mean, now maybe there's some bias. They want to, promote their companies and so on. But it is here,
Yeah.
and you can see it. You can talk to an AI model, and you can see it.
Actually, Anand Rangarajan was here a couple of episodes back. Anand and Pankaj, by the way, have done a startup together as well. It's a very small world. Now, so he mentioned that Google's using Gemini models to improve Gemini models already. So it's starting to kind of get
Synthetic
get.
data is very important.
Now, talking of synthetic data, I remember having a walk with you, and I said, "Hey, Pankaj, why don't you build something in detecting synthetic data?"
Yeah,
And you said it's a very hard problem. Now, is that going to be now impossible? We can't even tell whether something is synthetic or not.
it's a big problem, and it's getting worse because the AI models are getting better. So this class of things is called AI detector, which both students and teachers are using a lot. I think it's hopeless,
Yeah.
honestly.
Wow.
I don't know how many of you can detect whether something is written by an AI today. You can, right? What can you? Like it looks a little bit too perfect. Exactly. Huh? Yeah, too perfect. You can sense it.
Got it.
But all of that is now being fed into those same AI models. Try GPT-5 chat, because if you can those imperfections can be expressed and the models can be improved. So I think it's a hopeless problem.
It's all about adding imperfections now, not making it perfect.
Yeah.
So we have gone too far on the other spectrum.
It's like this electric cars, when they first came, in an electric car there's no engine, so it doesn't make sound. But then you sit and you start, then you're like, okay, I don't even know how it did it start, so they added sound.
That's right. Okay, sir.
Just fake digital sound.
Which is much easier than actually making it silent. Fair point. Now, I think you've made us probably more paranoid than anybody else who's come here about AI. You just talked about singularity, and you said, hey, it's like not 10 years, it's like here. What can all of us do to stay relevant, us humans and folks in this room as well as an Angel One? Like, what kinds of things would you suggest and say, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, do these things to stay relevant?
The beauty of these any new technology is that it really gives a chance for everyone to level up. So I take pride in being a software engineer and a builder, but everyone can be a builder now. So ideas people actually now have an edge, because your PM idea
you.
builder, you rely on people like me to build something,
Yeah.
but you don't need to rely on people.
Got it.
I think the first thing that everyone should do is to lean in rather than walk away. That's the number one human thing that a lot of people fall into the pitfall of, is that I don't know what it is, I'm fine. Just don't be an ostrich, don't put your head in the sand, look up, look around what's happening. There is so many tools, lean into it. Sure, like any other new technology, there are rough edges. It will not be quite perfect for your work. There's a saying that your job will not be taken by an AI, but your job will be taken by someone who's using an AI. I really think that the organizations of tomorrow will be much smaller than the organizations of today. And
For the amount of work they are doing.
for the amount of work they're doing. So growing organizations will
So
obviously want more.
either you can do more work or
You
become
can either
small.
do more work, but also each one of you will be managing tens of AI agents. Each one of you will have to be a CEO, because you will have access to an agent that can come up with ideas, an AI agent that can code it, an AI agent that can test it. And what is needed is to pull these things together, because only you will have the context of what is really impactful. So you will have to, each and everyone will have to become a manager of AI agents, which are like interns.
You need like a new Peter Drucker of AI.
You need to know what they're good at, what they're not good at, right? Because the raw intelligence, they can beat you at anything. If you have 1,000 employees, you'll have 10,000 AI agents.
Okay, there you go, Rohit. And like, what would you suggest that each of us, like last week or 10 days back, Sachin Bansal was here and he said, "Look, I'm coding now because I've got you're saying I'm using Windsurf to code. Should each of us be coding? Should we'll all use Yupp.ai, but should each of us be coding?"
Yeah, I think there is no. Reminds me of so Richard Feynman has a beautiful quote. Says, from a very early age, I came to know the difference between knowing the name of something and knowing something. He would go on walks with his dad or his friend's dad, who used to say, "Hey, that bird is name is this. That bird's name is this." And his dad would not say this name, but it would talk about what that bird is. So knowing what AI is, this conversation is not meaningful unless you actually know what it is. And in order to know what it is, you have to play with it. You have to understand it. And it's so actually delightful. So lean into it. If you feel like coding, build it. I'm sure you're using various kinds of softwares, HR software, payroll software. You will be able to basically just take a piece of software and say, no, I don't like about this. I don't like this about this. Just make a new one. effectively for free. So yes, I coming back to your kind of question of, I think should lean into it, devote some time. And the thing is that with any new technology, just a little bit of effort gives you disproportionate advantage because nobody else is doing that because of inertia or being busy. Or so if you just spend 2 hours a week just playing with it, don't just read about it, and that is equivalent to the name of knowing a bird. How is it that I can say, hey, write a poem which starts with a J, ends with a K, and write 100 lines, and it can do it in an instant? Like, what is happening? What is really happening? Is there a human behind it who's actually doing it? Why is it happening? What is actually going on?
Yeah.
What is it good at? The next generation will just completely be an AI generation for sure.
What is there anything that surprised you? Like even you're saying AI, I didn't know this could happen through AI.
Totally. Not just me, people who were in the field. This is all an extension of field called NLP, natural language processing. Even NLP researchers were very surprised that it could be that useful.
But is there a specific use case you said, aha, I never thought this could happen?
So just the beauty of this for me is just how general purpose it is. You can just throw it. We have been building machine learned models for specific things. Okay, you build a model for recommendation, you build a model for spam detection, you build a model for this score and that score. All those models are out the door. They're in the trash can. These are all now LLM driven. So the general purposeness of this, it's a calculator for text. Essentially, that's what it is. Of course, my lens is always a little bit technical lens. So I'm just amazed at how within a few seconds it can just understand natural language and give you an answer to a complex question. And the beauty is that inside it, it is doing is some kind of next word prediction.
It's a token generator.
It's just generating, just like I'm generating these words. My brain is generating these words.
What's the next most relevant token?
My only advice would be just experience it for yourself.
Go ahead, use as many tools as you can, try building something with it. Now, changing topics a little bit, but not too much. I think you're very passionate. You've been always passionate about India. You spent a bunch of time in India. Uh, uh, I know you like Indian food. You're Indian to the core. India has been a dream, right? I think, last 25 years have been incredible for India. The GDP has grown like crazy. We're the fourth largest economy in the world now, the most populous country, having an amazing demographic dividend. Now, I personally feel the next 25 years are going to be even more amazing because there is a potential for really big things to happen. But we all have to do that and make it happen. It won't just arrive by itself. So in AI, given like what you've talked about AI, what is it that India can do to stand out and not lose out on AI? What kinds of things should India as a country and us as a collective in India be doing?
So I differ from Nandan Nilikani in this. Last time I talked to him about this as well. He believes that India should not work on foundation models. Foundation models are the base models on top of which other things can get built. He believes that they are too expensive, and maybe he's right. He's so accomplished, obviously. He believes that India is a land of software developers and can build great applications on top of it. And I certainly understand that view. I hope there is more innovation at the base level because that innovation, the price of that innovation is also falling down. China has built many, many different models and is winning the AI race over the US and dramatically decreased the cost of innovation. So if we just assume that the innovation is very expensive, which it is, GPUs and energy is very expensive, then we're not even starting. But if AI is indeed as powerful as I'm saying, then it's like a nuclear arms. And then the same thing will happen in the world, that those who will have will try to suppress those who haven't and put controls around it.
Now makes perfect sense.
Right.
Now, you have how many models do you have integrated in Yupp.ai?
Now it's 700 plus.
700 plus. Did you know 700 plus? I thought like it's like 100. 700 plus foundational models exist in.
No, there's
I guess there are
same
variants
mod-
also,
the
right?
same model is on different places. So 700 models.
So
Maybe
these are
there are-
variants of models.
there's many variants.
what are
at
like
least 300, 400.
300, 400 foundational models exist. Now, if I, this is like just randomly, I was thinking about it. So if I asked the LLM model to create another LLM model, what happens? Like, has anybody tried that? How is that going?
An LLM model can create a new LLM model today,
And how good is that? Like, could you?
smaller. So one can create another smaller. It's actually this process is called a student teacher model.
Mhm.
The teacher model can teach the student model, and it is what Gemini, for example, is doing and others are doing. This is process is called the process of distillation, in which a large model's knowledge is distilled and squeezed into a smaller model. You do lose some fidelity, but it can be done today.
So maybe there's a time when you could use one of these LLM models and build a very large model, even bigger and
The
better.
reverse is harder.
Yeah.
So
The data
when
isn't
you
there, I
get new
guess.
knowledge, you need to get new knowledge.
Right.
But if there is a large model, you can distill it into a smaller model, put it in your phone, put in your watch, put in your earbud,
You just have fewer nodes, fewer weights and stuff.
fewer weights, and so on.
Got it. Makes sense. Now, what looking at next 5 years, let's say, not even beyond that, what are you looking forward to in terms of what kind of use cases AI may have, and what kinds of use cases are you looking forward to it doing really well?
Again, I take the example of the internet. What use cases is internet the most best at is hard to answer. Anything digital. So, the plumber's job will remain the plumber's job, but anything, because it requires hands.
But wouldn't like robots and AI then?
Robots are a little bit farther away, is the current thinking,
Got it.
because you just need a lot of data. LLMs came about because there were 3 decades of data on the internet, which researchers figured out a way to consume it and ingest it, which led to the LLM revolution. But for robots, we just need much more data. But anyway, anything digital, ask yourself what is something that you're doing which is completely digital, which honestly is all of us are doing mostly digital stuff that will all just be easily doable.
Now, human endeavor overall, like, is never ending, right? We keep looking at, of course, our search for purpose is also never ending, but our endeavors like keep going. Like, we want to colonize Mars, we want to do a lot of things. Uh, Now, you talked about art, right? Last time, actually, somebody, we were talking about Rembrandt and art through AI. And somewhere someone asked, one of my colleagues asked, like, why would you even have AI do Rembrandt? It seems wrong. So what do you like? What is the role of human intuition, creativity? Like, what would we do? Like, if AI does everything, where do human beings go?
Great question. So I can express my opinion, and others have their opinion. I think some jobs will go away. I mean, just like, the lift operator's job went away, right, when the lifts became. So some jobs are definitely going away, but they will be as the tools change. There is requirement to use those tools in new ways. A cousin of mine who runs some firm says, "Hey, earlier I used to make flyers. Now I just use Yupp to make these flyers easily." So but it's not like he has stopped his firm. He's just saved his time. And then humans have some things which are very human only. We care about other humans. We want to do well in front of other humans. We are interested in human games. If there was an Olympics of robots, who will watch it? Right?
Robots.
Maybe the robots will watch it. So there'll always be these human games that we would want to play.
But will AI become more? See, one of the things, with the Turing test was that the machine comes in and, can it sort of masquerade as a human? Now the reverse is happening, where you ask a, you ask a human, are you a human or a machine? Uh, because the machines have become so human-like. Now,
Machines have become so
so
human.
do they become that human-like that they sort of start having human pursuits and, you know, the
I
role of
don't think
humans?
so. And this is where different people differ. I care about you. I don't care about machines, right? So there are these biological things that don't change, and we live in a biological sphere. And from those things, those drives, those emotions, they are timeless.
Okay, good.
Um,
There is hope.
we will definitely find things to do and meaningful things to do. It will not be the same as what we do today.
So we'll go on a hike with each other instead of a robot, huh?
Absolutely. You can see it in chess. So chess apparently has changed a lot. Deep Blue was one of the first computers which could outdo the chess
Yeah.
grandmaster at that time. But somebody asked Magnus recently, how has chess changed? He said it changed completely. How has it changed? It just changed their training, how they train. And the new generation of chess players, they use computers to train completely differently. And so their capabilities have increased, but it's still a very human game.
Yeah. So you've got helicopters and you could go on a hill, but you still hike up and
Yeah.
it's still doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great analogy.
What's one piece of advice you'd give any working professional to succeed in today's world?
Your job is at risk. And so don't take it lightly. The good news, though, is that it's only takes a little bit of effort because the tools are just mind-blowingly good now. Newly graduated kid can easily do your job with good tools. So this thing about years of experience is at risk. So my advice would be learn, go deep into the new tools because it's available to everyone, and it's so nice that it is available to everyone.
They're saying stay with the times, otherwise your jobs are at risk. Like you can increase your productivity, you can become more relevant.
Yeah.
And if you don't stay relevant, then this is bigger than the industrial revolution for sure.
Yeah.
But one of the things, just to even push that further, one of the things that happened, there was this movie called The Social Dilemma. About all these social networks and social media creating anxiety, creating like all kinds of now, do you think we have to worry about AI creating sort of the next level of challenges for our kids, and how do we have to worry about that?
Yes, social media did create a lot of challenges because everybody created algorithms to maximize engagement and scrolling,
It's like dope,
right? Doom scrolling. Yeah, we are basically like a mouse which is being fed by a dopamine every tweet or Facebook or Instagram post. And those models do optimize engagement. I mean, they optimize, there's literally PCTR, probability of click through rate, is the metric which is optimized. So, but AI is, I think Zuck is working on AI feed. It seems like AI is as much of a productivity thing than just an entertainment thing. And I'm hopeful that we have learned a few lessons from the social era. So the challenges that AI creates is more like critical thinking than, I think, mindless scrolling. But I guess it's not for entertainment, but even utility. And it's funny that people are literally copying ChatGPT in so many different scenarios that even the word ChatGPT appears, right, in many cases.
Right.
So it is challenging. It is for sure challenging, and it's not it will not automatically happen by itself that kids will get the best out of it.
Got it. Thank you so much for coming down. I could keep picking your brains forever, and hopefully I'll pick over dinner as well. But good to have you here. Thanks for making time on a short trip here in India. We look forward to having more conversations with you.